Welcome to another episode of the Read Pile. Today I'm talking about Battle Chasers. So this came out in 2009. This is the first 9 issues plus some additional material. I also have this that came out in 1999. This is the first 6 issues with almost the same additional material. But I read this in preparation for issue 10, which just came out this week, 22, I think, years later after issue 9 came out. So the good news is, and I just talked about this, if you haven't read this, you can still pick this up because there's a whole cast list description here and a recap that fills an entire page there. So I did this anyway. I read the whole thing anyway, and it's great. There were definitely a couple of issues that I had not read before. The mid to late 90s is the first time that I quit reading comics. So as I was finishing high school, starting college, starting work, that whole time period I wasn't reading comics. However, I started, and I had some of the early issues of Battle Chasers. I got the hardcover in 99, I think, early 2000. I don't remember if I got it when it was new. Regardless, I'd quit reading comics. I restarted, got some of Battle Chasers along with some other things, and then quit reading comics again. Somehow, through all of that hardcover of Battle Chasers made it through all of the moves. I don't know how that happened. I know there are other things that didn't survive all of those moves. Somehow I still have Battle Chasers. As I said, however, that is 6 issues. This is 9, so I read this. I think this is related to the Kickstarter. That is somewhat of a disappointment, but that's a whole story by itself. I just wanted to read this to get myself back up to speed before getting into the modern era of Battle Chasers. And good news, it's still good. I liked Battle Chasers at the time. There was some of the Pat Lee stuff that he was doing with, Warlands. Books right off to the side. Pat Lee, Warlands. Pat Lee's another one. There's a whole story I'm not going to go into, but I enjoyed that. I enjoyed this sort of anime influence on swords and sorcery, and it's just a fun time. And, that's a page to flip to. It's good, which I think there's a general sense that artists turned writers aren't always the best at writing, right? Some of those, there's sort of a stigma about the Image founders and those launch books, and there's a recognition that yes, they're incredibly talented artists, but those early books, maybe not some of the best written at the time. So Joe Mad is a phenomenal artist. I don't think anyone will argue that. But when it came to writing his own stuff, and he did have help, I don't know as far as percentage breakdown of who did what, but there are 2 credits for story. It's well written. The characters are well done. Everyone has their own motivation. They have their own agendas. There's political intrigue. There's, as I said, action, adventure. There's some mystery. There's a lot going on in here, and it is, I'm going to say, welcome that the series is continuing, even if a bunch of time has passed. I will say issue 10 picks up immediately after this. So immediately from where issue 9 leaves off, it's there's no gap, there's no attempt to I don't know. The recap that I showed is their attempt to get you up to speed, and then it just throws you in. And there's an art style change, but otherwise it's the same stuff. It's clearly Joe Mad, but this by itself is still a fun, well done read with incredible art. There are a couple of instances where this paper is a little bit thicker, I think, than usual. So there were a few instances where I thought maybe the pages were stuck together because there was I'll say what I thought were missing panels, and I'm going to show you one example as soon as I find it. Well, I'll show you this while I'm flipping through. I mean, that looks great. Okay, so this is pretty late, but this happens. She comes to rest. She's resting. She's stationary, and yet he flips to the next page and she's rolling, and I'm like, what? Why? Did something else happen? But no, she's on the ground. She's in the air. She's on the ground, and then she's rolling. And even the scenery doesn't look the same. Like, there should be stuff on the ground, and I don't know. There's a couple of instances like that where it just felt like I was missing a panel or two. It seemed a little weird. Otherwise, it's great, and I will recommend it for anyone curious. I don't know the age of my viewers, so I don't know who is around. I think 3 of my viewers that are roughly the same age as I am that were around back then. But for anyone younger, you might have completely missed the Battle Chasers era. You might not have any nostalgia, any knowledge for this, but I'm telling you, if you're curious, grab it. It's enjoyable.